Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. My name is Kayla Monroe, and until a few months ago, I thought I understood stability. My life wasn't glamorous, but it was steady. Up before sunrise, coffee brewing while emails loaded, the usual morning banter about forgotten keys or burned toast. I liked routine. It calmed me. It made me believe things were predictable, manageable. But I didn't realize how deeply routine can blind you. My wife, Mara, lived for spontaneity. She loved excitement, attention, loud places, shiny things. When we first met, that energy felt like color splashed onto the gray parts of my life. Over time, though, it shifted, becoming something sharp, something hungry, something I couldn't quite keep up with. And she knew that. Still, I tried. I always tried. That particular Friday afternoon, nothing felt unusual at first. I came home early from the firm because a client meeting wrapped faster than expected. The house was quiet except for the faint music coming from upstairs, Mara getting ready for some dinner with friends. She called it a casual night. She said it with the kind of careless smile people use when they're hiding something behind their teeth. But I didn't start the night suspicious. The suspicion started after I walked into our bedroom. She stood in front of the mirror wearing a black top I'd never seen her wear for a simple hangout. Her hair was styled softer, more romantic, not casual. She sprayed perfume twice, the expensive one she usually saved for events. She didn't notice me at first, but when our eyes met in the mirror, she gave me a quick grin. "You're home early," she said, still adjusting a curl. "Meeting ended fast," I replied, leaning against the doorway. She looked excited, not nervous, excited, and that was my first warning. I watched her closely, not accusing, just observing. Her hand shook slightly as she zipped her purse. Her phone kept lighting up, screen flipped down, so I couldn't see the names. She laughed once at a message and hid it with a casual glance, pretending it meant nothing. "Big night?" I asked lightly. She shrugged. "Just girl stuff. We're gonna try a new rooftop bar. Don't wait up, seriously." Her tone was playful, but something about it rubbed across my skin like sandpaper. Still, I didn't argue. We hugged, but her arms wrapped around me as if she were somewhere else already. After she left, the house fell into an unsettling silence. I tried distracting myself, ordered takeout, watched half a movie, cleaned the kitchen so aggressively it looked like a rental, but not kept tightening in my chest, pulling at every thought. At 9:43 p.m., something pushed me to check the shared ride history app we used for budgeting. Mara never turned her Uber privacy settings back on after we linked accounts. That simple oversight changed everything. I opened the app expecting to see some downtown restaurant or bar. Instead, the address punched me in the gut. A residential complex on the opposite side of town. A place we'd never been together. A private building. No bars. No restaurants. Just apartments. And her drop-off pin sat right in front of Unit 306. It suddenly felt like the walls leaned in closer, like every breath was heavier, like the truth finally found me. The room blurred at the edges, anger mixing with something colder, disappointment so deep it tasted metallic. I copied the address, and without breathing, I typed out a message that didn't sound like the version of me she used to know. But that message, and what came next, was only the beginning of her downfall. I didn't send the message right away. I just sat there in the dim living room, the address glowing on my phone screen like a quiet confession she didn't mean for me to see. My hands were steady, but my heartbeat thundered in my ears, every pulse reminding me just how deeply I had misjudged the woman I'd built a life with. For a few minutes, I stared at the pin on the map. Unit 306. A stranger's apartment. A stranger who clearly wasn't one of the girls she claimed to be with. And slowly, the numbness I felt started turning into something sharp, something almost surgical. Clarity. Clarity hurts, but also cleans. I stood up, pacing the floor. My mind played back months of little odd moments I had brushed aside. Mara's sudden obsession with late nights, her new wardrobe for work dinners, the way she angled her phone away when messages came through. I had trusted her so deeply that I didn't even consider the possibility that she could betray me with such ease or enthusiasm. I wasn't the naive one. I was the loyal one. And loyalty in the wrong hands can look a lot like foolishness. Finally, with a bitter swallow, I wrote her a message. Simple. Calm. Too calm. You didn't end up where you said you were going. Check your Uber history. I hovered over send. Deleted it. Typed again. No, that was too soft. If a chapter in my life was ending, I didn't want it to close with uncertainty. I wanted it to close hard enough that it echoed. So I sent something else. Words that would sink straight into the reality she tried so hard to hide. You're at a man's apartment on Ashford Avenue. I hope wherever you are tonight is worth what just broke. I hit send. Then I placed the phone face down and almost immediately felt it buzz. Once. Twice. Then nonstop. Rapid vibrations like a phone in panic. Text after text. Calls stacking on top of each other. But I didn't check a single one. Not yet. I let the truth marinate for her. Instead, I walked into our bedroom, flipping on the bedside lamp. The warm yellow light washed over the familiar space. Our wedding photo, the small plant she insisted on keeping, the soft blanket she loved on cold nights. All these little symbols of a life that suddenly felt like something I borrowed instead of something I built. I opened our shared dresser drawer. Hers on the right, mine on the left. I pulled out her section first. A few dresses, the necklace I gifted her for our anniversary, the scarf she wore during our first winter date. I wasn't packing her things out of anger. I wasn't even packing them at all. I just needed to see the physical evidence of the life she'd thrown away for the thrill of secrecy. It hit me then, how much I'd given without keeping score. I remember the mornings she'd sulk without reason, the nights she'd pull away claiming she was tired, the way she no longer smiled when I walked into the room, but instantly brightened when her phone lit up. It wasn't that she wasn't capable of love. She just wasn't capable of loving me the way I loved her. Suddenly, the buzzing phone felt like background noise. Almost irrelevant. The betrayal itself already told me everything I needed. I finally picked it up. 16 missed calls. 23 messages. The latest one popped up instantly. Mara. Kayla, please answer. I'm not where you think I am. A lie. I knew it. She knew it. I didn't reply. Instead, I scrolled up. Why would you text that? What are you talking about? Babe, what address? Can we talk? You're scaring me. Caleb, answer your phone. It's not what you think. Please don't do anything stupid. Come on, pick up. But then the tone shifted. How did you even see that? Caleb, don't overreact. We didn't do anything. He's a friend. I swear I can explain. That word, friend, nearly made me laugh. That was the oldest, laziest lie in the world. But the message that came next, that one sealed her fate. Are you going to ruin everything over one mistake? One mistake. One mistake. I felt something in my chest snap. Not heartbreak, but freedom. A cold, steady freedom that made me see just how little she valued what we had. I wrote only 3 words back. Come home now. No emotion. No warmth. Just a command from a man who wasn't asking anymore. Her reply arrived instantly. I'm leaving. Please wait. Please don't do anything crazy. I didn't respond. I didn't need to. Instead, I sat on the edge of the bed, elbows on my knees, hands clasped tightly. This wasn't rage. It wasn't violent emotion. It was clarity, the kind that makes you see your life with new eyes, the kind that can rebuild a man from the inside out. Tonight wasn't about confronting her. It was about letting the truth settle into its rightful place. What happened next, what I planned next, wasn't impulsive. It was intentional, measured, icy calm. Because cheaters expect shouting. They expect tears, chaos, begging, accusations. They never expect silence. And silence, used right, can be the most devastating revenge a man can wield. The minutes before Mara arrived home were the quietest of my entire marriage. Not peaceful quiet, tense quiet. The kind that makes a house feel like it's holding its breath. I sat in the living room, not moving, not checking my phone again, not even rehearsing what I would say. I didn't need to. When someone shows you who they are, words become unnecessary. At 10:31 p.m., headlights swept across the window. A car door slammed. Her hurried footsteps thudded up the driveway. Then the front door opened so fast it bounced against the wall. Caleb, she called out, breathless. Not lovingly, fearfully. I didn't answer. She stepped inside, her hair slightly windblown, makeup smudged from rushing, her purse half open like she'd grabbed everything in a panic. She spotted me in the living room and froze. "Why didn't you pick up?" she asked, voice shaky as she slid her phone between trembling fingers. "You scare me." I kept my eyes on hers. No anger, no softness, just clarity. "Sit," I said. She hesitated, then slowly lowered herself onto the chair across from me. She tried to read my face, but she couldn't. She wasn't used to me being unreadable. She was used to me being forgiving, patient, eager to smooth out conflict. But that version of me died the moment her Uber pin landed at a stranger's home. "What did you see?" she whispered. "You tell me," I said. She swallowed hard. It's not what it looked like." I almost smiled. She was really going to try that route. "Then explain," I said calmly. Her voice wavered. "It was just a friend. We were talking. I needed advice about us." "Address?" I asked. What? What's his address?" She froze again, eyes flickering. She knew she couldn't say a random street. She knew I already knew. "Mara," I said quietly, "don't insult me." Her eyes filled with tears. I didn't mean for her to go this far. There it was. The accidental confession. I leaned forward, elbows on my knees. "How far did it go?" "Start from the beginning." She wiped her cheek, looking down. "We met months ago. At the gym. It wasn't supposed to be anything. He just made me feel seen." I inhaled slowly. Not out of shock. Out of confirmation. I had felt her slipping through the cracks long before tonight. She continued, voice cracking. "I tried to stop talking to him. I did. But he kept reaching out and you were always busy with work and—" "Mara," I interrupted, "don't rewrite history. You weren't lonely. You were bored." Her lips parted like she wanted to argue. But she didn't. Because she knew I was right. Silence stretched between us again, thick and heavy. Finally, she broke. "I'm so sorry. Please don't give up on us. I swear I can fix this." Her hands reached for mine, but I pulled back. She flinched like she'd been struck. "You want to fix this?" I asked softly. "Yes," she said quickly. "Anything. I'll do anything." "Good," I replied. "Then listen carefully." Her tears stalled, confusion rising. "You don't get to cry your way out of this," I said. "You spent months planning, hiding, lying, enjoying attention you weren't supposed to want. But now that you're caught, suddenly you care. That isn't love. That's fear." She blinked rapidly. "Fear of losing you." "Exactly," I said. "You want me now because you're losing me, not because you love me." She covered her face with her hands, shoulders shaking. "Please don't leave me. We can rebuild." "No," I said firmly. Her head snapped up. "What?" "I'm not staying in this marriage," I said. "I'm not fighting for someone who already gave herself to someone else while I was home thinking we were okay." Her breathing turned frantic. "Caleb, please don't do this. I'll cut him off. Delete everything. Change my number. I swear I'll do whatever you ask." "I don't want you to do anything," I said. "I just want you to understand that tonight, the second you stepped into that man's apartment, you made a choice. And I'm making mine." Her panic shifted into desperation. "We can go to therapy. We can take a break. We can move. We can reset everything. You don't have to end it like this." I stood up finally, my posture calm, my voice steady. "Love doesn't require a surveillance system," I said. "If I have to watch where you go to know the truth, the marriage is already dead." She reached for me again, falling to her knees. "Please don't leave me. I made a mistake. Just one." "One," I echoed. "You don't build a secret relationship overnight. You don't lie for months by accident. You don't go to another man's home by mistake." Her sobs echoed through the house, the same house where laughter used to echo from room to room. But her tears didn't stir me. They didn't move me, because I finally saw them for what they were: regret for getting caught, not remorse for what she did. I walked past her, toward the hallway. "Where are you going?" she cried. "To sleep," I said simply. "You can stay in the guest room." "Caleb, please," she begged, grabbing the doorway frame as if the house itself was slipping away from her. But I didn't turn back. Not this time. Not ever again. Because the real revenge wasn't anger. It wasn't yelling. It wasn't humiliating her. It was letting her sit alone with everything she destroyed, knowing she could never repair it, knowing the version of me who loved her unconditionally no longer existed. The silence I left her with that night was louder than any argument I could have delivered, and it was only the beginning of what I had planned. I didn't sleep much that night, but not because of heartbreak. It was something colder, steadier, acceptance. A quiet understanding that the life I thought I had was already gone long before I discovered the truth. Betrayal doesn't happen in a single night. It's built slowly, piece by piece behind the scenes. By morning, I had a plan. Not revenge driven by rage, but by clarity. When I walked downstairs, Mara was sitting at the kitchen table, eyes red, hair disheveled, hands wrapped around a mug she wasn't drinking from. She looked like someone who hadn't slept either. "Caleb," she whispered the moment I stepped in. "Can we talk?" "We already did," I said, opening the cabinet to grab a glass. "Now we act." "Act," she echoed, voice trembling. "What does that mean?" "It means we're separating. And you know why." She pushed back from the table, so quickly the chair scraped the floor. No, Caleb, please. We can't just throw everything away because I made one terrible choice." I turned to her. "You didn't make one choice, Mara. You made dozens. Every lie you told was a choice. Every night you went out for dinner with friends was a choice. Every time you turned your phone face down was a choice. Last night wasn't the betrayal. Last night was just the proof." Her lips trembled. "You're really ending this." "I am." She stumbled toward me, grabbing my wrist. "You can't. I can't, Caleb. I don't want to lose you." She meant it, not because she saw my worth, but because she realized the man in that apartment wasn't going to offer her stability. The thrill she was chasing didn't come with a safety net. She only valued the life I gave her when she saw how quickly she could lose it. "This isn't about what you want anymore," I said calmly, gently removing her hand. "It's about what I deserve." Her tears fell harder. "And what do you think you deserve?" "A life where I don't have to question whether the person beside me is lying," I said. "A partner who chooses me without hesitation." She covered her face, shaking. "I'll change. I promise I'll change. I'll be better. Just give me one chance, just one." "That's what I gave you every day," I replied quietly. "You didn't want it then. You want it now because you're afraid." She sank into a chair, breaking completely. "What am I supposed to do?" "Start wherever you want," I said. "Just not here." The silence afterward felt final, like a door closing inside the house itself. Within the hour, I packed my essentials, laptop, clothes, documents, a few personal things, and placed the house key on the kitchen counter. The house wasn't my escape. The silence inside it was hers to face. "Where will you go?" she asked, voice barely audible. "Away from here," I said simply. "I'll send the paperwork soon." She didn't argue. She couldn't. The truth was finally louder than her excuses. As I walked toward the front door, she whispered, "Caleb, please look at me. Just once." I did. And that single look, broken, defeated, desperate, was the consequence she created for herself. She had gambled with something irreplaceable, and she lost. "I hope," I said gently, "that one day you understand what you threw away." Then I left. Not with rage, not with bitterness, with dignity. Because sometimes the strongest revenge isn't destruction. It's walking away with your self-respect intact, leaving the person who betrayed you alone with the ruins they created. And Mara, she had to live with every moment she destroyed, knowing there was no version of the future where she got me back.